history doesn't necessarily repeat itself. We're going to take a look in this audiobook on what is psychology, future is not the past, name calling, stigma, identifying paranoia and severe paranoia, circadian rhythms, routines, cognitive distortions, and cognitive biases identified in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, focus, being judgmental, finding freedom, socializing, mobility, what is cognitive behavioral therapy, emotional granularity, identifying emotions, name that emotion, videos for social situations, the cognitive behavioral diamond, all or nothing thinking, negativity bias, don't discount the positive, catastrophizing, fortune telling, mind reading, emotional reasoning, overgeneralization, labeling, personalization and blame, jumping to conclusions, communication, social and emotional skills, mood, diet, medication, values, problem solving, practical ideas, tips and tricks, complaint, epilogue, and possible extra sections, social situations. What is psychology? According to Google, at the time of writing, the first result defined psychology as psychology is the scientific study of the mind and behavior, according to the American Psychological Association. In other words, psychology seeks to understand why we behave the way we do. It also seeks to help people improve their lives. Therefore, I believe it is worth studying it and learning about it, and I would encourage you to do so too. The purpose of this book is to convince you that if you have had a breakdown before, psychology and therapy can be part of the change you need in your life and help you to stop catastrophizing and start problem solving to make sure that your life is going the right way. History doesn't necessarily repeat itself as long as you get good therapy. After that, it is up to you to apply what you learned to your life, your own life. You will have to go on learning after that about cognitive behavioral therapy and acceptance and commitment therapy and other therapies are good starts. Perhaps psychotherapy is also an option, but this tends to focus on the past, not the present. You can also do some writing, such as which is suggested at selfauthoring.com by Jordan Peterson. Does history repeat itself? Not necessarily. And the past is not the future. Thanks to Aaron Beck, father of cognitive behavioral therapy. The future is not the past. Hope is fundamental to people with mental illnesses, as Daniel Goleman states in his book, Emotional Intelligence. the ability to recognize your own emotions, to empathize, to socialize, to be part of a society, a group is so important. The various therapies and techniques have been devised in order to improve the social skills of people who don't naturally have those skills. If you like, I've created a playlist on youtube.com called Counterattack Depression. Please comment on it. I hope you like it. It's designed to give hope. You can see the link on the screen here. Or you can type into YouTube Counterattack to Depression playlist. The idea for this book is born from therapy, very good therapy. Therapy I went through was called social cognition interaction therapy. But there were elements of cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy involved. The outcome of therapy for me is that it has broken the cycle from hospitalization to living in society. Nonetheless, there is expectation from others around me that something will go wrong and I will go back to hospitalization. I don't expect it will. Now, I'm in a place of development. I'm trying to build myself a life. That life involves some difficult choices, like having to live with my parents again, but it makes me happier, that choice. And I'm willing to make some of those decisions now. It is time for me to go back to work. I teach as an English teacher, and I do what I can to promote cognitive behavioral therapy and a non-cookie cutter approach to mental health. Before I even went to therapy, I had to go to a required initial meeting. Even the meeting scared me a little bit. And also, I didn't want to go through this annoying procedure. In hindsight, I should have gone long before. Hindsight is an amazing thing, though, since I didn't know that therapy would be so effective. I have to say, I had never been to any groups like this, only to private doctors. This was with the French Social Security healthcare system and run by several qualified professionals. It was my local psychiatrist who had recommended the group, but I was still scared. So I decided to attend the required meeting. And once I'd filled in the forms, I was able to go to a first group session, a session that didn't resemble anything that I'd experienced before. Everybody can benefit from therapy because therapy is designed to improve people's lives. As I said, CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy is not like traditional psychoanalysis. It does not take an in-depth look at your past, but rather aims to look at your present and make the future better. Obviously, that's important. Who does not want to live a better life? It is sometimes true that people who have had a breakdown before are likely to break down again. Sometimes not. History does not necessarily repeat itself, especially with good therapy. If we have good therapy that enables us to go about our business in society effectively, Maybe it may be that does not happen again. That the information learned in therapy and by experience is enough to ensure that we do have the ability to subsist in society. I heard a quote on the radio this morning. We expect to experience more of what we've experienced in the past in the future. This, as we will see, is actually a cognitive bias called generalization through bad extrapolation, extrapolating what we saw in the past into the future. Just because it rained yesterday, it doesn't mean it will necessarily rain tomorrow. It's so true when it comes to mental health problems. If we learn through therapy, we may be able to reverse the tendency of things ending in a negative cycle. You have to nip it in the bud, otherwise things may degrade. In my case, I was someone who had a deficit in reading emotions on people's faces. And so cognitive behavioral therapy helped me to view other people in a completely different light. Cognitive behavioral therapy talks about cognitive biases. Cognitive behavioral therapy talks about cognitive biases, heuristics, shortcuts in thinking, where we make mistakes, shortcuts in thinking where we make mistakes, and presents, as far as I can tell, a number of counter heuristics that work 90 to 99% of the time, perhaps even more. Not labeling, not catastrophizing, not emotional reasoning, not mind reading, not fortune telling, etc. That's all for today. I'll put the next part online very soon.